Alright, welcome to this online seminar. Welcome to GRE Masterclass. Thank you so much for spending your time with students today.
Yeah, sure. So thanks, Vishnu. So shall I get started?
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah. So as I show you today, as you know, we are going to talk about purpose type of questions in RC. So we'll understand. So what is the objective of today's webinar? We want to understand the purpose of different types of writings. So just get aware that there are different passages with different purposes. So let's become first aware of it. Of course, we can't cover all the types of passages in this webinar, and there are a lot of RC passages, but the purpose is to make you aware that such passages exist. Then we learn the skill of identifying the purpose of author in presenting a passage. Okay. Then we look into the importance of spotting clue words in arriving at the purpose of the passage. This is very important. This is the most important step. And once you get this right, most likely you will get the question correct. And the clue words have to be identified as you read. So this is what we will focus on today. This is the most crucial part. Then this is simple. Know how purpose type of questions can be worded. Okay. And most importantly, what are some of the classical distractors in this type of question? Right. So every question type has some typical distractors. When we did main idea, we discussed the distractors pertaining to main idea. Right. So today we will see purpose and also the distractors. Be aware of it so that you don't fall prey to it when you solve purpose type questions. And of course, we'll be practicing some questions to get a feel of all that we discuss above. Right. Okay. So let's get started. Okay. Okay. Look at this now. There are different types of writing, right? Anybody writes, there is a purpose behind anything that is written, correct? For example, a story writer writes stories and novels to entertain, right? Tell me, what does a reporter write news articles? What is the purpose of reporters writing news articles? So there are a lot of purposes. Some might, as somebody said, they might be writing articles to enlighten. They are sincere. They bring an issue in front of us. Some just provide information. This thing happened. They don't sensationalize. And some take a small issue and sensationalize it. Right. So every news reporter has a purpose. Ayush says publicize. Yes, some people want to publicize a small event and they want to make it big. Vishal says criticize. Yes, there's a big issue and say the economic policy is not doing good and they want to criticize it. Sainath says publicity. Yes, that is to sensationalize or gain publicity, right? So there is purpose for everything. There is no one purpose when a news article is written. So as all of you rightly said, there are purposes, right? Okay, now a politician, he writes speeches to. Arumand also says influence, right? So there are different reasons. You know, when in the Lok Sabha, if he's in opposition, he might just give a speech to bring the ruling party down. If he's in the ruling party, he will defend his policies. If it's an election, they want to win votes. You know, so at different times they will have different purposes. Suppose it's a UN, they're invited to some a foreign nation and asked to address that particular assembly. They will do it in a more sophisticated way, right? About the country and the relation between India and that nation and so on, right? So there are different purposes to each speech. Okay. Okay. Now, what would a detective do? Why would he narrate his findings? Right. Vamsi says demystify. Somebody says investigates. That's Paras. Elucidate. That's correct. Hemant. Reinvent says Bisheshwar. Investigate says Sairu Kumar. Right. Observation and analysis says Krishna Kumar. Somebody says decipher. That's Sauvik. Revamp says, I guess he means revamp, meaning he wants to recap again what happened, right? Right. Further studies for others says Atul Patil. Yes, that's also possible. Conclude, say Manoj. Yeah, he must have done an investigation. He must be concluding that this is what happened and this fellow murdered somebody, right? So that's true. Ashutosh says to put in a sequence of events, right? So sequence of events that happened. So that's correct. So again, when somebody writes his findings, there are different reasons. So as you see, for every writing, there is a purpose. A story title to entertain, reporter to inform, publicize, sensationalize, or whatever, politician to persuade, to oppose, criticize, multiple things. But detect. So these are some examples. So I guess now you can see that there is a purpose to every piece of writing, right? You agree? So any piece of writing, there is a purpose. So what does this question do in GRE? Is it gives you a small piece of writing and asks you to guess or visualize or deduce from the writing what is the author's purpose. And most times the author would not have said it explicitly, and from the statements he makes, from the examples he gives, you need to identify his purpose of writing that particular passage, right? So with that background, let's now move to more of towards GRE. Okay, let's look at this. Let's come closer now. Here is a passage. Tell me what could be the writer's purpose, right? So do you agree? Is it to show an example that how a small act can bring cohesiveness or energy into the team? Vinaya says cooperation. That's correct. How one act, it builds in positivity in the team, and it catches up, right? When so this is a play, but like cricket, one small act, people can become enthusiastic, and the whole team can get charged up, right? So do you agree? We are just trying to visualize, and develop before we come to RC. So here there is no explicit line from the author why he's giving that example. So okay, so let's see one more example of this type. Read this and now tell me the author's purpose. Okay, why is the author describing all these things? Don't tell me to describe and all that. He's describing, he or she is describing, but why is she describing this way? What is the purpose? Don't tell me she's narrating and all that. Why is she narrating in this particular way? Rini, is she describing the aura of a new place? What is she trying to do? Nitin says experiences of adventure. That is, Prajwal says disembarking from flight. That's trivial. I think it's Vyasraj who is saying that. That's a fact. Why is she giving that fact? Yeah, Roshni got it correct. Importance of change, probably. Akash is fine. He says new experience, to show a new experience. Sharing her feels, Sriram says that's correct. To feel and enjoy the nature, Harshika says quite close, but her experience is what she wants to convey. Inculcate the importance of nativeness. This is bit over overestimation. It's not a nostalgic feeling, Sai Sandeep. Nostalgic is not from the past. No? Nostalgia is when something reminds you of the past, then it is nostalgia. Experience sharing with others, Moshmi says, yes. Order of changing is, Golokesh says changing is, that's correct. It's an experience, and her objective is to express her experience, the freshness of her experience in going to a new place. Supreet says feeling, that's correct. Snehal says tells her experience when she has the change in aura. That's correct, Snehal. Something similar. Okay, let's see. Change in places brings different feelings. That's correct. Samdup Chorpal says that. Okay, let's see. Right, to convey the pleasure of flying or going to a new place. Right, the experience, the feeling of it. It's just said in a different way. But once a lot of you got it right, that it was about experience and feeling, and that is what she was trying to convey. Then, as usual, once you get it right in your mind, then in the choices, you just have to look for a phrase which matches with what you have in mind. Right? Do you agree? So this is how you first conjure up the purpose in your mind. Okay, and then in the choices, you look systematically to check if there is a choice which is similar, which is paraphrased version, rephrased version of what you have in mind. Do you agree? All of you? So we saw two examples, and first you guessed, right? And likewise, the smaller examples that we saw before, the journalist and so on, you were conjuring or you're imagining, and then in the choices you have to see whether what you had in mind, which is the best match to it. Okay. Yes, Prarup Joshi, I'm seeing your messages, but only thing is that too many attendees and it's going fast. Prarup, you said the love that she felt. Does anybody agree with this? The love that she felt? Was it to show any love that she felt? Maybe just a feeling, I think, not love really. Probably, if you say it's the feeling of happiness or something because of change of place, then Snehal is correct. Feeling of pleasure, not love. That's correct, Snehal. Yeah, I think she got it right. To show excitement, that's also correct, Sampreet. Not love exactly. It was an emotion that she's showing, but it's more of excitement or that kind of wanderlust. Devjit is perfect. To love for wanderlust, that's also perfect. That the joy which comes from travel, change of place, this is what she's trying to convey. Anyways, I guess you're getting the technique, right? Karan Patel says elated, that's also good. She's showing that elated feeling, right? Devdutt is saying love word was used, but see, don't go very deep. You can't say that there is love here and therefore you just have to pick love. I don't know, where is love said here? Devdutt says love was said here. No, I don't think there is love talked about anywhere. But yes, the feeling is expressed. After flight, we discover love. Okay, the love, that moment. Oh, okay, that love, that moment. Don't go into details of this, no? Like somebody says, I love chocolate and I love this, that, and so on. Then you know that you have to go beyond and say that he loves good food or something, right? Don't go by specific of words like this. He loves the moment, and then he has described many things. No? He has described many things: the air, the sound, and so many things. So the author is conveying her experience. So this is a good point, then, Devdutt. Just because there is love here, don't fall for it, because this is just a fact of different things, which otherwise, how do you convey your experience? No, you will convey your experience by using a lot of facts, and this is what the author is trying to do. The joy of getting down from the flight and then walking from the terminal, coming outside, then you hear different sounds. Every city has a different sound, no? Of autos, cars. The air is different. People look different. So she's conveying all that thing. So don't get hooked up by specific words. When it comes to purpose, you understand the generic of it. That is a phrase which captures the essence of this. Is it fine, Devdutt? Yeah, is it fine, Devdutt? Yeah, okay. Okay. So now let's come to purpose. These are just some examples to warm you up and to get a feel of thing. Now let's come to the formal purpose part in a GRE passage. Let's see how to identify a purpose in GRE type passages. They're similar, but now principle is very much similar. Okay. To answer a purpose type question in GRE RC, as you read, you should always be asking in the back of the mind, what is the author's intention or purpose in writing this? So it's okay, like many times you can see the question first so that you know that it's a main idea question or a purpose question. And then when you read the passage, you can go with those investigative thought in mind. Is it fine? It's often a good idea to read the question first so that you read the passage with that question in mind. So you can check whether is he present. Some typical cases, many GRE passages are an argument, or he has a thesis, right? And he's presenting his argument or his views on that. Many are like this, right? Sometimes it's about a crucial point, one point, and he's arguing on that point, right? In the previous one, he might give a key observation to present his case. Then you would have seen some passages where he is being critical or appreciative of someone or something, right? You would have remember seeing this kind of passages, an author or a poet who did something and it's being appreciated. Somebody who is forgotten, the author says that he never got importance and his contribution was not appreciated, and then the author writes what all he did. So his objective is again to get publicity or appreciation for that long forgotten author or artist and so on. Then sometimes he narrates a very crucial experience or an event or an experiment and then leaves it to you to draw the inference, right? So then in that case, that experience is given with a purpose. For example, the first one that we saw, small one, where somebody is helping Bella in the play during the rehearsal, right? It is narrating a crucial experience or an event, and then we have to draw inferences as to why he has chosen that example, right? Do you see? So there are more, but these are some typical ones. Criticizing, this is very common. Criticizing or appreciating somebody, this is very common. Then arguing is quite common, and narrating something with an example or giving an example with a particular purpose, this is also very common, right? Okay, so again, just as you did in case of the journalist example or the politician example, as you read, you try to get the verb out, the easy criticizing, easy building an argument, easy appreciating somebody, and so on, easy recriminating somebody, that is holding somebody responsible for something, that is because of him this thing happened, so look, these are all verbs. If you recollect, all these are verbs: to criticize, to appreciate, to gain publicity, to gain votes, whatever purposes we discussed. Remember that all are verbs. So once you get this key verb correctly, then you look for choices which are similar. Okay, so the key is getting that clue verb out. Is this fine, everybody? Now, just as you did in those little exercises where you got the verb out, right? To motivate, you said, or to narrate an experience, narrate a feeling, right? So in each of this case, it was a verb, and that crucial verb is what the clue verb is. What you have to get it perfectly, and then look for a choice which matches best. Fine. Do you understand the crux of this? The crux of purpose is just this: to get the clue verb as you read. Fine. Of course, let's see some examples then. Okay, and one thing before this thing, just as soon as you see purpose, don't just assume that it is purpose of the entire passage. Sometimes you may be asked purpose of a particular statement or a particular example in the passage. So be very clear what is the question about, the purpose of the entire passage, or is it purpose of a particular element in the passage? It could be an example, a statement, or a particular word, a special word. Fine. So then we know that a purpose either explicitly stated or implicitly stated. If it is explicitly stated, it makes your job easy. Or if it is not, then these clue words will help you. But either case, whether it's explicitly stated or implicitly stated, always develop the habit of guessing your own clue verb. Guessing your own verb, and sometimes it may match with the explicit statement which is said there, or anyways, either in any case you have the answer if it is implicitly stated. Fine. So now let's see. So now let's see some steps, and these steps are not like maths. It's not like step 1, step 2, step 3, but this is what mentally you will be doing. These steps you will be following to understand the purpose of a passage. So this is what you did, even the small examples. These are the 3 steps you would have done. So first is comprehend the passage. step 1, and use the principles of analytical reading, which were discussed 2 webinars ago, right? The idea of, the thesis statements and the support statements. Then often, if you go through the thesis statements, it tells you the main idea. It can also tell you the purpose. Okay, and so that is crux to analytical reading. Developing that is crucial for many questions in GRE RC. So the same thing applies here, but only thing when you read, if it's a purpose question and you're doing analytical reading, what will be the question in your back of your mind is to know why is he writing this passage, and then actually subconsciously you're looking for this clue verbs. You're looking for verbs to criticize, to appreciate. That is what it may become clear to you at the end of the passage, but those are the clue verbs that you're looking for as you do analytical reading. Step 2, identify the clue verbs, and then of course the third step is to do the logical reasoning to decide the right option. See which one best matches with what you have in mind. Sometimes you may land with 2 choices, both which look similar, and that is where you'll have to use reasoning to decide between the 2, right? And the final step, of course, is this you don't do in the exam, but when you're practicing, you always do self-analysis, a thorough self-analysis. If you got a question wrong, then read the explanation and understand why did you miss something, where did you fail. If you got it right, still read to confirm whether the reasoning that you followed was all right. So in this process, you sharpen or fine-tune your reasoning skills. So always do this. And if you don't understand, still if you're not convinced, you ask a doubt to your SFA or your trainer. Is this fine? So these are the standard 3 steps. But the crucial in purpose is the step 2, the clue verb. Okay. So shall we see some examples now? Okay. So the 3 steps are in your mind, and clue verbs is cool. Now you have an idea. So let's see some practically, let's get into the waters now. Okay, you know this that it can be phrased in different ways. What is the purpose of the passage, primary objective of the author, what is the reason, primary object, and so on. So this is how it will be worded, but all of this mean the author's purpose of the passage, and sometimes purpose of a particular example that the author used. Okay, then there are some classical distractors. Okay, let's come back to it after we do one and come back. Okay, because distractors are important. Let's come back after we do one example. Okay, so do you guys want to read this passage? Okay, read this passage and keep the answer in your mind. We'll go step by step. So first example, let's read it carefully. Do that analytical reading. If you have paper, as I discussed, you can make small notes, jot down the points, not make notes, highlighted ones, right? Okay, so now let's come to so what is the purpose of the author? Not the author's purpose. What is the purpose of the tourist? Let's see what the question is. Hold on, just a second. Let me just quickly see this. From the information presented in the passage, what is the purpose for which tourists seek information from local authors? Now, this is not the purpose of the passage. Purpose for which the tourists seek information from the local restaurants. Information on local restaurants. Let's go back to this. So let us first imagine in the mind. I mean, develop the answer in the mind. So the question is, why does the tourist seek information about local eateries when he goes to a new place? Based on this passage, without seeing the choices, tell me what is the tourist's purpose in seeking information about local eateries of the places that he goes to visit? Just as you did for the journalist and all. Just think why does, suppose you go to based on the passage, not why you go. According to the passage, Now let us see. Now let us see the choices. But anyways, you are getting an idea, right? You have an idea. You have something in your mind. That's the second step. Now look at the choice and see which one best matches with your what you have in your mind. Hold on. Let me go there. Okay. Now tell me, based on what you thought the clue were, appreciate, you said, know the local culture. Okay. To experience was the key. Many of you got that. Yeah. Cool. So most of you are getting the correct answer. Let me not influence. Many of you are getting it. I can see. I don't want to tell who is getting what, but yes. So E is the right answer. E is the right answer. Many of you got it. Quite happy to see that. But there, of course, others will have a question as to why A is not the answer. Someone was struggling with an A. That's Utkarsh. I think a lot of people have not chosen A as the answer. Okay, so why is A not the answer? Hold on. Let us see what A is. Okay, here is A. Why is A not the answer? Those who said E, which is the right answer, why did you not select A? Can you type down? E is the right answer. Many of you selected A. Aslam says ensure overall. No, I didn't understand, Aslam, what you have written. Because food is not the only thing for a tourist. Somewhere close, that's correct. But that's not really. Look at this choice. Look at now. Go into details. A little bit of a detail. If you look here, isn't the hotel guy where he's staying telling him that you get the best in our hotel? Why do you want to go out? But ask, why should they be anxious to go out second class establishment? Right? Can you see this line here? The hotel owner will say that that means it's available here. Why do you want to go out? So if it was just delicacies, it's not just delicacies, right? Because the delicacy might be available in the restaurant also, but you want to go and eat it out, no? Right? Do you guys get it? Here, the hotel owner will say that you get it in our own hotel. Why do you want to go somewhere else? But that's not. You also want to see the ambience and so on, right? Yes, Syed Abdur Rahman is correct. He says because the tourist he want to experience. Yes, it's not just the food. He also if it was just to taste the delicacy, then he gets it in that hotel itself where he's staying. He gets it in the hotel. This is very specific. So if you see A, it is very narrow. Do you guys get it? Why A is not the right answer? Plus, in the passage, it is said that the hotel owner tells him that you get it here itself, right? And plus, look at this line. Let us look at this line. In a quest to explore the surroundings, So this is a keyword. He wants to explore the surroundings. Food is one part of it, right? And food in that ambience is something different. Do you guys agree? In India itself, you can get that pani puri in a hotel, in a restaurant, versus eating on the street is totally different, no? And then eating in Bombay next to the sea is even different, right? So it can be justified from these lines. Now, is it clear? Those who selected A, why it's not the right answer? One, it's because it's too narrow, and plus it's not justified in the passage itself. Is this fine, everybody? Plus, this is a clue one. This is a keyword, quest to explore the surroundings. Okay, right. So let's see one more example. Any other choice? I guess it was either A or E. No one selected anything else. So let us just see the choices. A, as you see, it's very you drop it out because let's do some choice analysis also. Even if you got it right or if you got it wrong, when you're in the practice mode, always do analysis by reading the explanation. Okay, let's look at. So A, this is partially true. It's a classical distractor. The tourist wants to seek experience from that place. So we discussed this. B, the tourist is not going to gain or lose anything in declaring. He's not doing. He's not. Let us look at the question. He's not. He's not trying to check if the proprietor or the hall porter is honest with him. This is not mentioned, and it's not correct. It is not to check prices. This is nowhere mentioned. C is nowhere mentioned, and this is somewhat like over generalization. D, to understand the economy of the town. It's not. He's not. It is slightly different. To experience the place and check the economy are two different things. So though economy and stuff like this is not mentioned, he's trying to this choice D. It's trying to say choice E in a different way, right? To understand the economy of the place. So how they eat and live. This is more of an exploratory. E is more of an experience stuff. You want to do it yourself. D is only you want to observe. So there's a difference between D and E. Somewhat similar, but in D, he wants to observe. E, the tourist wants to experience. And most of you guessed it right. He wants to experience. That's why he wants to go out. Is it fine?